Hi everyone, this is Amy from the Hudson Valley Tarot YouTube channel, and thank you for joining me today. I'm going to talk just a little bit about the Reader's Studio 2024 that was held in New York City recently. And all I'm going to do is show you all my purchases because I got so many new decks. Some I bought, some were freebies there, giveaways, and some were from the freebie table, which is a great thing. I brought a lot of decks to leave there and I took a few home, which was great. This is not going to be like a review or a recap of the event. I just wanted to give a shout out to Soultopia because they did do a great job. They had to really, fill in some big shoes, and I think they did it very well. Kudos for that. I'll talk about the only thing that I did not like, and that was they offered lunch and dinner buffets. They charged $44 for lunch, $77 for dinner, and it was not worth the money at all. Everything else was fantastic. Fantastic. All right, so enough of that. Let's go through all the stuff I purchased, and I'm going to start with what I love the most, and I'll just do like a quick show and tell. Nothing, I'm not going, no reviews, anything, but my 3-card reading partner. So at the Reader Studio, you start with a foundation reading and you have a reading partner. You give each other a 3-card reading. Then after the Reader Studio, you're supposed to incorporate what you've learned and enhance on the reading. All right. My reading partner was Monica Buderski, sorry. Monica had a booth. She was selling her decks. And honestly, I had no idea who she was. But we hit it off. We had great readings. If you don't know who Monica is, she is the artist and designer behind the Shadowland Tarot. And she was selling her new deck, which I purchased at the Reader Studio. So that's the first thing I'm going to show you. She gave me my 3-card reading using her new deck, and I had to have it. So here it is. It's called The Awakening Tarot, An Elemental Approach by Monica Buderski. And I don't want to use the word creepy. She signed it for me too, by the way. The book is awesome. It's a really substantial and well-written book. The deck comes in great packaging. It's Schiffer, by the way, I believe. Schiffer, red feather, technically. So even the box that the cards themselves come in is really well made. But this is magnetic. Schiffer is hit or miss with me. Red feather, Schiffer. Because many of the decks I bought from them, the cardstock is awful, and I'm always afraid to buy decks from them because the worst one I ever got was like the Buddha Tarot by Robert Place. The cardstock is like cardboard. It's just like, the old boxes that you used to give Christmas presents in for, shirts and stuff. They're like that. It was awful. I can't believe they did that. But this cardstock is great. I knew it was because Monica gave me a reading with it. Here's the backs. She basically used dolls. You could tell I used reversals. It's not, I didn't feel it was creepy, but it's different because it's Monica. But I love it. I absolutely love it. I don't see myself using this with clients. Never say never, but this I will use a lot for myself. Monica was really nice. She signed it for me. And this is my favorite purchase the whole weekend. This deck I just love it. And I impulsively bought her Oracle because, I bought it because I wanted to support her. Looking at it, I'm like, that's not something I would use. I'm not a witchy person. Nothing against it. I mean, seriously, really, totally objective here. I don't use like sigils or this is a Bone and Curio Oracle deck. It's shadow casting. So I don't do casting. I do, and I call it intention work with candles, but I've never been a practicing witch. This is a very kind of what I would call witchy deck, and Monica is a witch. She's Wiccan. But each of these are drawings of her casting set. She told me the story behind it, and they all have meanings personal to her. And I did a couple of readings for it, and she also recommends some rituals to do because she considers it sacred. And I did that as best as I could. I was staying at my sister's house in New York for an entire month, so I didn't have all of my, you can't see it. I keep wanting to go the other way. That's kind of my altar back there. Yeah, I have an altar, but it's an intention. Anyway, I really am, this is a great tool. I am using it and I'm really loving it. She tells a story behind each one. It's just fantastic. It's another one by Red Feather, and lucky I got it's great packaging and cardstock. My two favorite purchases of the whole weekend. I knew I wanted to buy a lot of bags, tarot bags. You can see back behind me, those are the decks I use most often. I like to have my special and favorite decks in a bag. The two I just showed you, I'll probably leave in the case, mostly because Monica signed it for me. But otherwise, I usually kind of throw them in a bag. So I bought some really nice bags. This was actually from the Freebie table. This one actually came with the Lenormand I bought from Robert Place. The New York Lenormand from Robert Place. It came with no box. The backs are blank. And he provided the bag for free with the Lenormand. Now you saw that. I guess we'll show the decks from Robert next. Let's see. The other ones. I bought this one from Cheryl Ryder. Another one from Cheryl, which all came with these pulls, which was fantastic. I got to pick them. This one. So these are, she included some 3-card spread. Oh my goodness. Judith, I forget Judith's last name, but she's been at the Reader Studio forever selling jewelry and bags. I bought this 3-card spread bag from her. I love the sparkly, I love the pattern on the fabric, and I really loved her bags. They're a little pricey, but they're well crafted and the fabric is really divine. So I'm not sure what's going to live in here yet. That's another one. Here's another one from Judith. This is her kind of style with the triangle flap. This is a 1-card bag. And in this bag, I have one of the decks that was a free giveaway. It is by Sasha Graham. It is her, I think it's the Garden Witch Tarot. Do I still have the book in here? No. The book is probably on my bookshelf. But the Garden Witch Tarot was a free deck, and I really like it a lot. I used it a lot through the weekend. I've already used it once for a client, and it reads really beautifully, and it's just, the artwork is nice. I don't use the book as much. It's a great book, but yeah, I don't need the book with this deck. It's a Rider-Waite style deck, so I don't really need the book. But the book was really good. You know, for like Monica's deck, I definitely will refer to the book, but this one, not so much. All right, so here is another bag I got from Cheryl, and in it, because each of Cheryl's bags have enough room for 2 decks, in it I have 2 huge decks from Amy Zerner and Monty Farber. So this is the Zerner Farber deck. I love the size of it. It's a little thick, So a little story about this. They're such wonderful people too. Oh my gosh. The most wonderful, loving, friendly, giving people you ever want to meet. And they gave a freebie. Actually, it's still in the shelves. I'll have to pull that out to show you, but we got a free gift from them as well when we registered. This is, I guess, a reproduction of their first deck, the Zerner Farber Tarot. And when I first started learning tarot, there was a woman, her name was Jill. I can't remember her last name, but she would have a tarot group meet at her house. She taught tarot. I met her through a Reiki class, I think. And she basically, it was before really internet was widespread. It was not easy to find people back then. I don't think Meetup was a thing yet, but if it was, it wasn't big yet. But Jill would have these meetups at her house, and she taught with this deck. And she was a beautiful person as well. We would just give her like a $5 donation. Whatever you could afford was all she asked. She passed away, and I always wanted to get a copy of this deck because it reminds me of Jill. But again, I'm using this a lot with clients. And I also bought their oracle. And now, for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the oracle. I'm going to have to press pause and come back and give you that name. Hold on one second. I'm back. I got the boxes from the decks that I got from Amy and Monty. So here's the box for that Zerner Farber deck. The book is still on the bookshelf. The box is big and heavy and for this little deck, but I mean, I love the size of the deck because when I do readings, I send a picture of the cards to my clients, and it's easier to fit them all when they're a little smaller. So I really love this. The oracle is called the Creativity Oracle. Here's the box for that. Here's the little book that came with it. It wasn't on the shelf. It was still in the box. I don't refer to it. I like to just go by my intuition when I use decks like this, but I also they have like a key phrase on the back of the card along with an image on the front. The imagery is very thought-provoking and intuitive. The messages are very uplifting and positive and encouraging. All things that I really love the flavor of when I give a reading, so I'll be using this a lot. I've used it a few times already, but it's definitely going to be a well-used oracle. So both of these decks, because I probably will use them a lot together, are in the same bag. It'll probably be on the shelf behind me because I think I'll be using this a lot for my Etsy readings and my online readings. But, it does take up a lot of space. But we'll make room for it. So all my decks are going to change now. A lot of my new decks are going to go here. Some of these might go over behind my desk where I have my kind of second tier of favorites. I've talked about this before. But all the decks are going to be rearranged. They've been in a bag since I got back from the Reader's Studio because I wanted to show them to you first. But another thing to mention about Amy and Monty is they did a really wonderful fashion show the night of the ball. And we got these booklets that have a lot of Amy's clothing design. And it is gorgeous. Gorgeous. Gosh. If I could afford it, if I came into a lot of money, I would splurge on a jacket by Amy. And then this was actually a registration gift, so a freebie when we came in. It's little reminders, 36 oracle cards to guide you on your path. And this one's geared towards love and relationships, which is perfect for me because having an Etsy shop means that I would say 75% of my questions are, relationship or love or lack of relationship, but definitely love related. That's a topic for another video. I think I might do a YouTube video about why I do love readings and why I think they're the most important type of readings and the most healing type of readings you can give to a person is that person that says that, whose question is, will he come back to me? Does he love me? What does he think about me? These are the people, or she, because men too do the same thing. But they need a reading, and there's a lot of potential to help these people. So I don't want to get too much into it, but I have a lot of decks that are, and oracles that are themed around love, because what's the most important thing in our lives? Our relationships. That's all I'll say. All right. Moving on. Let's see. I think that's it. That's all the bags I got. And those are like, of all of them, I've shown you my favorites. And all the ones I've shown you so far are definitely going into the shelves behind the desk right there where the favorites live. Oh, I can't believe it did that. Okay, let's going. The other major purchase was, some of you may know that Robert Place and I have collaborated on some of the courses he teaches. So I'm just getting started, but I plan to have all these tarot classes I want to start putting online and teaching online. And when I saw that Robert was teaching online to people in other countries, like specifically this time it was China, I'm like, why aren't you doing that in the States? Because I want to take your class. And he's like, organize it and I'll do it. So I did. I'm organizing the courses for him. I'm collecting the payments. I'm uploading the videos. It's my Zoom account. The platform where the recorded videos live is mine. And he just teaches the course because that's what he wants to do. And we have more planned for the rest of the year. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming. And so I bought the rest of his decks. I have almost all of them. I have the alchemical, but I know it's changed a lot since the version I have. He's recolored, he's touched up things. And honestly, I like the cardstock and packaging more of this one. So I got that. I got his Ukiyo Lenormand. I am not a Lenormand reader, but Robert's going to be teaching some Lenormand and / Oracle courses. So I got his Ukiyo and his New York Lenormand. And who knows, maybe I'll start using Lenormand. And I got his Tarot of Alchemical Magnum, of the Alchemical Magnum Opus. It's like a very simple and uncluttered version of his Alchemical Tarot. So these are all fantastic. They were the only ones of his deck that I did not own. There's one playing card deck I didn't get. I probably should have, but I'll probably get that too because I think he's going to be teaching how to use that deck as well. So I completed my Robert Place collection with 4 new decks from him. Not all of these will live in my office. Some will go in the cabinet in the guest room because I won't use them frequently, but definitely the not this one, the Alchemical Renewed will stay in my office, and the other alchemical that I did own, which was like the first version he's self-published, that will go in the cabinet, and this one will stay out here. But all right, so that's my Robert Place stuff. Gosh, I'm running out of space. All right, I bought some decks from Tarot Garden. Let's just show those real quick. The first one is this one. This was a Kickstarter deck, Cosmosis Tarot. It has a very nice guidebook. It's supposed to reflect the universe within. The guidebook, it has no colored pictures, and I'm fine with that. I have the decks, right? It's still in the bubble wrap. I almost used it for a client and then decided not to. And again, I like to use, I guess you could say, safe decks with clients. But here's kind of the general artwork. It has these like generic graphic figures, and I don't know if it's photoshopped, but it's definitely probably, I see what looks to be like photographs and different layers. So this isn't someone that drew the deck, but there was some artistic work that went into it, so I did like it. But I really liked the, how do you describe it? Like the interpretive take on in the images. I felt like they interpreted the meanings of the cards with their images and symbolism really well. Somewhat unique without being too way out there. And that's what I like about this deck. It's not the most beautiful deck I own, but it's what maybe deep I might call it. But there's a lot of black. And the reason I didn't use it with the client is because sometimes just seeing all that black kind of makes people depressed. So you could see like the backgrounds, or there's a lot of black space. And yeah, I just don't, and I have no problem with that, the way they're using that here. I like the way they're using it. I just don't know how it would be for someone else, especially if they're depressed or just not ready. I just try to keep it light when it comes to, unless, I know the person and I know, what they like or what they relate to, then I might use it. But so far I have not, but I would use it for myself for sure. So I'm really excited about this purchase, and it will definitely stay behind me for at least a while, and I will take a good look at the book to understand where the artist came from when creating the deck. So that was one purchase from Tarot Garden, and then the other two are pretty simple. I got 2 tin tarots. Like I said, I like to use smaller size decks. I don't use decks just because they're small, but when I do a reading with a small deck, I am always appreciative of being able to fit more cards in the real estate area of my spread claw. So this one is a deck I've known about for a while and didn't realize how much I liked it until I saw it on their table and went through the sample. It's really nice. It's watercolored, so it's very kind of beautiful in that respect. Very abstract, but really, really beautiful. Now, I do believe, here's the Chariot card. I really love it. I dig this a lot. Actually, taking it out has made me want to do a reading with it. And I have a couple of readings I have to do today, so who knows. But definitely a deck where I'm like, how did I miss this? I think it is, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's Thoth themed deck, which is fine. I just read them intuitively. I don't worry about any Thoth meanings or anything like that. But this one also will be staying in here. A lot of decks are going to have to go. But there's quite a few back here that I just don't use that much anymore, so it'll be all right. This is one that I got because I was curious. The Zodiac Tarot, and it was small. I had it in my cart a couple of times on Amazon and then take it out. So I'm like, you know what? Let me get it here. It's a tin size. It's Rider-Waite themed. I'm not really a Zodiac expert. I know the basics. I know it pretty well, but I'm not authoritative. But I do incorporate it into reading sometimes. depending on the deck I'm using. And I liked that it has the references on it. Like if I forget it, it's right there, the symbol of the suits or signs and elements. Well, the elements are not on it, but the signs and the planets are, and I like that. And then they have the constellations up in the corner. So there is a pretty good little white book. And so I think I might use this now and then. So the little white book does go and relate the zodiac references to the meaning of the card, which is good. This might stay behind me for a little while, but it's probably not something I'll use a whole heck of a lot, but I'm glad I got it. All right. Divinatrix. This is not a divinatory tool. It's a healing tool designed for a woman. And there's light and dark cards. She has the website divinatrix.world. Okay. She was there with her son. It is, I don't know how many cards, but she works with archetypes and chakras. She has the light and shadow side. And in her book, she talks a lot about how to use it. So it's photography, including photographs in shadow that are of herself and a friend. So these poses are poses they did, and she talked about how healing just that alone was. So here's like a darkness. She said they were channeled, which I can definitely get. You see a lot of sacred kind of geometry looking stuff, but there's not a, so I hemmed and hawed on this because it doesn't come with a lot of information on how to use it. This is what it comes with. It's a fold out, and this is basically it. It has information on the front and back. I haven't checked out her website yet, but it was only $44. The woman was beautiful and genuine, and I could see that a lot went into the creation of these cards, and I wanted to support it, and I'm going to try and I'll see what else I can learn from it. I encouraged her to write a book, something that will be in the cabinet and that I might reach for when I feel the need for that kind of healing. This is a deck that I did not purchase. Well, I didn't purchase from the Reader Studio, kind of, but I did get it from my roommate, Katrina Wynn. She was my roommate this year. She and I also support each other as tarot entrepreneurs. And she was culling her collection. I'm like, I have to have that. I've wanted this deck for so many years and never allowed myself to buy it because, out of print decks have out of print pricing, but I've always been intrigued by it. Mary Hansen is the artist behind my first tarot deck. She's the artist in this deck, and I love her style. And then I was also very intrigued by the book by Dorothy Morrison and how she relates all the fairy tales to the tarot. And this is kind of the real reason I wanted this deck so bad, was I wanted to see her spin on it. I bought other fairy tale themed decks and I just don't connect with them. One is the Bubba Studio one, but this one, because of the artist, I thought I could really get into this, and Katrina gave me a really, really generous deal. So it was a completely unopened deck. I definitely would be exploring this deck. All right, so that is that one. All right, so from the freebie table, I got a few things. I got one of those bags that I showed you earlier. I saw this deck, and I thought it was pretty good. It's called the Wisdom Seekers Tarot. Cards and Techniques for Self-Discovery and Positive Change. David Fontana. It has just a basic little booklet. Not too much. The cards are warped. But again, this is the freebie table. The cards are a little warped. Well, they're a lot warped, but that's never stopped me from using. But look, I love the coloring. I love the style. It is kind of Marseille style, if you ask me. High Priestess. But not Marseille. The minors are kind of what I would call semi-illustrated, which is translated, it means illustrated enough for me. Let's see if we can find, here's a princess card. But these would be fine to use for my Etsy readings. I really the artwork is fine. I love the colors. It was free, and yeah, it's a good deck. Here's the Three of Cups. You know, it really isn't fully illustrated, but there is some intuitive imagery to grasp. Like, look at the Four of Cups especially, a little more. So I really like it. I really like it a lot. Look at the Empress. I love the colors. It's a little plasticky. I don't really love the cardstock, but it's fine. And it's easy for me to shuffle in my overhand way, which is how I shuffle. Oh, Nine of Swords. Ooch. It's different. All right, so that is this one. I am going to leave this out. I can see me using this a lot for my Etsy shop because it's simple, it's easy to look at, it's nice colors, so I'll keep this out for a while. It might not stay forever, but it will stay a little while. I picked up the Everyday Tarot. This is a tarot deck designed by Bridget from Biddy Tarot. I would have never bought this, but again, the size. Whoops. When I put the deck down, I must have hit the pause button on my keyboard because it stopped recording, but I'm back, and this is actually the last deck I had to show you, so we are at the end. I wanted to thank you all for joining me. I know it's been a while. I do have plans for another video. Hopefully within the next few weeks, I'll be putting up another Pick Apart a Tarot reading. If no one sends me one, if any of you have a Celtic Cross reading that you'd like me to pick apart, please send it to me with your cards and your interpretation of the reading, because I'm going to take the same cards and I'm going to use my version of the Celtic Cross to show you how I might interpret the positions different, and also how I use the relationship between different positions to get a lot more out of the spread than just reading the 10 positions and that's it. So if you have a Celtic Cross reading that you're willing to send to me with your images of the cards, your interpretations, I will recreate it and pick it apart here on the channel in my next video. If I don't get one, that's fine. I'll do a reading myself and share it with you. All right, that's it. Thank you all for joining me. It's great to be back. I love talking about all my new decks, and I will see you all in the next month or so. Take care. Hi, it's Amy here from Hudson Valley Tarot, coming at you with a little shameless self-promotion. As many of you may know, I do work with Robert Place and help him organize a lot of the courses that up until now he's only taught in person. I am helping him get all his classes online. We have a course starting on June 1st. And the second, it's two classes, 2 hours each, and it's called The Origin and Evolution of the Tarot Deck. This is a very foundational class that Robert is going to teach live on those dates. But once he's taught it, we'll put the recordings online and you can purchase and take those classes anytime you like. The other course that he's selling in the same way is Symbolism of the Tarot Trumps Through the Eye of the Artist. And what this is, Robert is going to explain the use of symbolism in the tarot deck based on the artists of that time. So this class is only one. It will be taught live on June 29th. After that, it will forever be available to watch the recording. It's only 1 2-hour session. And right now we have a special where you can buy both as a bundle and save $25. So I'm going to put a link below for that bundle price. If you don't want to purchase both, you can buy them separately, but you will pay more if you purchase them that way. There's links with more information, lots more details about what's in the course and the pricing and all of that. I'll include the list for the discounted bundle and the individual purchasing pages if you'd like to just purchase one of them. So I just wanted to get that out there. I hope you all check it out. This is something that is just a really helpful and foundational as a tarot reader, whether you're using Robert's decks or not. All right, thank you, and I hope you go check it out.